Hello, this is Luke from Orcs Head Magic, and today I've got a modern deck tech for you. This is mono green Tooth and Nail. I know that Tooth and Nail normally is green and red, however this is the mono green version of it. The green red version plays a few different cards like Blood Moon, and it's easier to cast certain cards, and of course the sideboard's different, but other than that, it's a slightly more budget version. However, this is the version that I prefer. I find monocolour is a lot easier to deal with, and especially if someone else is playing Blood Moon and you're playing mono green, it's a lot better because you're not affected by it as much. But anyway, back to the deck tech. First creature we're playing is 4 of Arbor Elf, which is 1 green for a 1/1 to untap target forest. Simple, we're going to be enchanting a lot of lands, so being able to untap them and then tap them again for a lot of mana is really nice. Exactly the same for the next card, which is another 4 of Voyaging Satyr, which does exactly the same thing as Arbor Elf, but instead it can untap any target land. So if you've got a Nykthos Shrine to Nyx, you can untap that using Voyaging Satyr. Next card we're playing a 3 of Eternal Witness, which is an interesting card because this can get back anything from the graveyard. So for example, you casted Tooth and Nail and they've negated it, or they've used a spell to stop you from playing it, so they're countering it. You can then get it back and try again, or it has a very nice combo with Primal Command, where you can keep searching out Eternal Witness to use Primal Commands again and again and again, so it's a bit of another combo which can annoy the opponent but also win you the game. Next creature we go on to is a 1-off of Xenagos, the God of Revels. This is your main combo piece card. We're going to be using this with Emrakul, Aeons Torn, using Tooth and Nail to win the game. What it does is, before beginning a combat, you can give a creature haste and +X/+X, so we'll talk about the combo later on in the video. Next card is a 1-of Primeval Titan. This card is really good just to finding more lands for you. Say for example you can't find a shrine to Nykthos, or perhaps you're very low on land. You've been able to ramp up to 6 mana to cast this, but you need more lands to help you out. So a great card. I mean, it's also a 6/6 trample, so another great card to have. Next card is a 1-of Hornet Queen. And Hornet Queen just helps gum up the board. If they're playing quite wide, then you get tokens out there. And this also combos up well with Craterhoof Behemoth, which is the next card, which is Craterhoof Behemoth is a 1-of, and this card's ability is amazing and can help you win the game. It's another one of your win conditions. What it does is when it enters the battlefield, it has haste, but all other creatures on the battlefield get +X/+X depending on how many creatures you control, and they all gain trample. So if you control quite a few creatures, especially stuff like Hornet Queen with all the little tokens it has, they're going to pump up all the tokens and then sort of swing in for this massive trample damage to win the game. And then the last creature we play is a 1-of Emrakul, Aeons Torn, which is the main win condition when it comes down to Tooth and Nail. You can cast him if you've got him in your hand, you can ramp up to 15 mana, which does give you the extra turn. However, like I said, we're going to be using this with Xenagos. It has flying, protection from coloured spells, and Annihilator 6, so generally you can win the game with just that. You know, they might have a blocker, however, Annihilator 6. You'll see in the sideboard, we do use the other Emrakul, just in case they're playing a lot of creatures that can block Emrakul, Aeons Torn, because sometimes you just want to win the game straight away. Now onto the Planeswalkers. We have a 3 of Garruk Wildspeaker. This card's absolutely crazy. Generally you can play him turn 2, and then use his first ability to untap 2 target lands to play something else. So you can pretty much get him for free in most cases if you're enchanting lands. Second ability is put a beast token out, just another blocker for protection, and then this is ultimate can also be a win condition as well, to give all creatures +3/+3 in trample. Like I said, if you've got a bit of a board presence, you can sort of swing over and win the game. And then we play a 1 of Nissa Worldwaker, which is a bit like a more expensive version of Garruk, because I don't want to play 4 of Garruk, because of course he's a Planeswalker, and you don't want to have too many in hand. So you've got Nissa Worldwaker, which very simply, it does sort of it does the same thing. However, this untaps 4 target forests instead of 2 target lands, and then it can also make your lands turn into creatures. Not too sure how good that it really is. I don't generally do that ability because of course you want to keep your lands alive because they've been enchanted heavily, and we only play 21 lands in this deck, so still a good Planeswalker to ramp up. Next we play a 3 of Harmonize, which is simply just draw 3 cards, and you can get this off quite easily. It's only 4 mana, and 4 mana in this deck is easy to cast quite early game. Next we play is a 3 of Primal Command, which is a very interesting card because it has all these abilities, and you can choose 2 of them. You can either gain 7 life, put a non-creature permanent on top of the owner's library. Generally you choose your opponent and you might put a land on top of their library, so of course they're not drawing into anything good. You can shuffle their graveyard into their library, so say for example you're playing against Dredge or they've got a Tarmogoyf. And then the last ability, which is probably the main ability which we're going to use, is you can search out for any creature in your library. That's why we're playing so many 1-ofs in the deck of creatures, because we can search them out. And this next card, of course, this is where it gets its name from. We're playing a 4 of Tooth and Nail, which is for 7 mana. You can either choose one, search your library for up to 2 target creatures, reveal them, put them into your hand, then shuffle your library, or put up to 2 target creatures from your hand into play. Or you can of course entwine it for an extra 2, so 9 mana overall, to do both, and this is our win condition. Because of course we use this, we search out Emrakul, Aeons Torn, we search out Xenagos, play them both. Xenagos then gives Emrakul haste and makes it a 30-30, and then generally we'll win the game. And now we go on to the enchantments. These are all the enchantments which are going to be enchanting our lands. We have a 4 of Utpoia Sprawl, which is 1 green to enchant target forest, and then it taps for any colour, additional colour. So this is really good to get down on. Perhaps you've got turn 1 Arbor Elf, turn 2 play another forest, Utpoia Sprawl one of the forests, and then you've got potentially 4 mana there by using Arbor Elf to untap the lands. So really solid card to have in your starting hands. We have a 1 of Fertile Ground, which is pretty much taps the mana for an additional colour, of any colour. It's a slightly worse version of Utpoia Sprawl, but we want to play quite a few enchant lands, so that's just a 1 of. And then we play a 4 of Overgrowth, which allows us to tap the mana for an additional double green. This really works well with mono green, and you can get a very big payoff if you're enchanting your lands and then untapping them. And now onto the lands. We play 17 basic forests, so we're keeping it pretty simple. We play 4 of Nykthos Shrine to Nyx, which is an amazing card if you've got a good board state of green devotion, because of course depending on what your devotion to green is, you pay 2 of any colour, tap Shrine to Nykthos, and you can tap for whatever your devotion to green is, so you can get quite a lot of mana, and especially if you can keep untapping Shrine to Nykthos, it really does work out well. Now we go on to the sideboard. We are playing 3 fogs, so against any pesky aggro decks, we can use fogs to try and keep ourselves alive for another turn. We play a 1 of Scavenging Ooze against decks that, this is for graveyard hate, and especially we're ramping a lot of mana up, so we can potentially gain quite a lot of life if you end up exiling their creatures from their graveyard. We play a 1 of Manglehorn, which is a new card. This is quite good because you can turn 2 this and play Manglehorn perhaps against Affinity, which can slow them down a bit, and I really like this card. We play a 1 of Ratchet Bomb. This is good against decks that of course play a lot of tokens, because we can play Ratchet Bomb, tap it, sacrifice it, and then destroy all the tokens. Or another 1 of Hornet Queen. This is again good against decks if you want to gum up the board. So for example, they're going very wide, they're playing quite a few creatures, You can use Hornet Queen, well, 2 of them, just gives you more of a chance to get back in the game and stabilise. We play a 1 of Creeping Corrosion, destroy all artifacts, of course, again against Affinity, against other decks that are very artifact heavy. We play a 2 of Acidic Slime, which is a really good card for this deck. Yes, it's 5 mana for a 2/2 with Death Touch, but again, we can cast this quite easily because, of course, we're playing a ramp deck. When it enters the battlefield, destroy target artifact, enchantment, or land. So this card becomes very useful against a lot of decks that focus on using stuff like lands, enchantments, and this, of course, is a very good card against myself because you can destroy my lands, which I'm enchanting. We play another 1 of Primal Command because, of course, we're only playing 3 in the main board. This is just another one in the sideboard if we need to interact with our opponent more. If playing certain decks where using Primal Command's abilities will be in our favour. Another 1 of Primeval Titan if we feel like they may be playing land destruction, or maybe we're struggling to play lands really, especially if they've got stuff like Ghost Quarters, which is sacrificing itself to destroy our land. And perhaps maybe the enchanting of lands isn't working at the time, and we need Primeval Titan to get in there and just get some more lands for us. We play a 1 of Summoning Trap. This is, of course, really good against decks that counter a lot of cards, so Summoning Trap really does work for us. We play a 1 of Emrakul, the Promised End, and this is the other version of Emrakul. If they're playing a very heavy deck of cheap flyers that can block Emrakul Aeons Torn, this card is really good to just search out and then win the game by making it a 26/26 with, of course, Xenagos. This is because it has, of course, Trample, so if they're trying to block with little creatures on Emrakul Aeons Torn, you can use this instead just to trample over for enough damage. And then we play a 1 of Thragtusk, which is for just life gain really, and being able to use its second ability just as another body, so perhaps they're playing it's good against aggro decks because you can block it with something and then perhaps they trade and then you have another blocker waiting with the beast token. So that is the deck tech overall. This will be the deck that I am taking to the Birmingham GP this year for the modern event. I really like this deck. It definitely is, I always love playing mono green. I did have the mono green aggro deck that I did really enjoy. That has been set aside at the moment because I just feel like this deck I have a lot more fun with, and yeah, definitely. So thank you very much for watching the video. Comment below just to give me any tips on what you think about the deck, what you would change, how you feel about it being mono green instead of green red. And yeah, thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.
Thank you for watching the video. Please remember to hit that like button, it supports the channel for free. Also subscribe, and remember, if you don't want to miss any videos, hit the bell icon right next to the subscribe button. Thank you for watching again. Goodbye.